Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be taking a first look at Gold Mythic Romanov, who is going to be the War Season 3 character reward. Visually, as you can see, he looks pretty mighty. He looks pretty mighty on the right hand side. You can see the animation, he swings the axe. On the left hand side we can see it in a bit more detail. He does look a little bit thinner on the left hand side. I always thought Romanov was a pretty big guy. But this isn't the only visuals that we actually have of Romanov, because there is a special War Veteran edition of Romanov for any person that does qualify for War of Champions. They will get the War Veteran version of Romanov as a reward. And that version looks like this, a bit more like the Romanov I'm used to on the left hand side, a bit of a bigger dude, You can see the animation of him swinging the axe here. And this is, I like the visuals a lot. I like the animation on the left hand side. But not only this, if you do get this character, you will have the option to put this character as your avatar. And if you do that, this is kind of what the avatar is going to look like. It's going to have the sort of like war icon going across, basically like a first edition, but for a war veteran character instead. Now that's it on the visuals, which are obviously great. It doesn't matter too much if you get the normal version or the War Veteran version. Both look really nice. It's obviously, down to you which one you prefer. But you can only get the War Veteran edition if you do qualify for War of Champions, like I said. Now let's look at his stats as a Grade 5 Limit Break 2, level 680 character. He has got 14,465 attack, 16,876 defense, and 16,876 HP. This is of course base without the lieutenant system. That will pump it up nice and high. He is a strong character, considered a tank, mythic character of course, and he is joining the Rebels along with Ivanova, who is, I believe, his wife. So yep, that makes a lot of sense. So we'll get straight into the character skills, and his adrenaline rush is called Die by My Axe. It is a 66 AP cost rush. Deals main damage equal to 20% of this character's max HP to up to 2 enemies. This character gets 50 crit for 3 turns. Now, this was actually a kind of a character that a lot of us were discussing on my streams that we thought could come along due to the introduction of Pamela, and there being quite a lot of alert characters that had, based on their HP, could do main damage. Romanov is the same deal. Based on his HP, he'll do main damage. This obviously means that you do not have to look at his attack at all, whether you use him on attack or defense. You just ramp up his HP through the roof. His damage is going to get massively amplified because of that. He's going to be good in challenge run, because obviously those later stages are going to be quite hard to tank the damage, and that's going to be really nice. But he's also going to work nicely on permanent defense teams, and basically any defense team. He doesn't necessarily have to be on a permanent defense team here, but it's going to be very good. He does also get a crit bonus, which is interesting. Maybe there's another part of his kit which actually requires him to hit crits. We'll look into that in a moment. Okay, so here we go. We have got his rush up, and he has got around about 20,000 HP, just over 20,000 HP. So this isn't going to do a huge amount of main. The higher you get that HP, the more main damage it's going to do. And that includes lieutenant system, weapon, mods, leader skill, anything that can amplify the max HP will amplify his damage. So we're just going to rush. It will just do a little bit of main damage to 2, as you can see. But it will be amplified the higher his HP is. Now, he's mainly going to be a defense team character, and just based on the fact that he's a tank. But there is going to be some potential to him being used on attack. Now, you also saw that crit buff going on him, and I'm still not quite sure how that's going to be useful, but we'll see. You can see at grade 2, it gets a 20 crit boost, so it goes from 30 to 50. At grade 4, he gets 10% HP in main damage. At limit break 1, he gets 5% HP in main damage. So it looks like the expansion is mainly going to be upon main, so if it does get another expansion at limit break 3, it could be some more main damage, which obviously would be fantastic. But I think this could be really dangerous. If you just push that HP up, I can get, like I already said, 50, 60,000 HP on some of my characters without having a Pamela lead, who's going to work so well with this character. And like I said, on attack or defense, I think he's going to be dangerous no matter what team he's going to be on when it comes to the sort of damage output he gets. And I think tanky damage dealers that deal things that are based on defense or HP or bleed, burn, that sort of thing are always viable because it isn't based off of their attack stat, although there was some tweaks to how a lot of burn and bleed damage has been done. But I wouldn't be surprised in the future if there was some burn or bleed based on HP and defense. And I think this is good for defense team characters long term. Now, this character does have a signature move, of course, and it is called Come At Me. It has got an initial cooldown of turn 1, cooldown of 3 turns, and number of uses unlimited. Make a critical attack against one enemy for 100% damage. Taunt that enemy for 3 turns. So a first turn, 3 turn taunt. And if you know there's other characters that are in the game that have already got this as well, there's potential matchups that he could have on Pamela defense teams that are going to be nutty. I'm talking about Pamela, Romanov, and Skeleton Steve, because Skeleton Steve, I'm pretty sure, has a 3-turn first turn taunt as well, so it can be pretty crazy. The critical attack is interesting. Again, there's crit on his rush, there's a guaranteed crit on his signature move. Is there something in his passives that is reliant on crit? Is there something on the rest of his kit that's reliant on crit? I don't know. Maybe I could look ahead, but we're not going to do that. I'm just going to show you how this works when it comes to its actual usability in a raid. Okay, so this is really straightforward. You just decide which target is the problem on an attack team. On a defense team, it will decide for you, but it will just taunt that character for 3 turns. You'll gain 35 AP from doing that as well. Other things have just apparently happened. I don't know, maybe some other things just apparently happened. But based on him hitting a crit, other things could potentially happen. So getting crits could be good, and a guaranteed crit on the first turn could be good. Now, if we look at the upgrades for his signature move, we can see that at grade 3, it gets 1 turn of taunt. So it goes from 1 turn to 2 turns. At grade 5, it gets -1 to starting cooldown. So it goes from initial starting cooldown of turn 2 to turn 1, which is awesome. At limit break 2 is where the taunt goes from 2 to 3 turns. And that's going to be obviously the hardest one to come by. You're going to have to be warring really heavily to get 4 of this character. But that could obviously be a big impact on your actual potential to win a raid on defense or on attack. Because like I said, the usability of this guy on attack is not terrible. But I think he's also going to have some pretty good usability in Challenge Run. I have been talking about the different traits in Challenge Run over the last couple of weeks, and I kind of have realized that Strong only has a lot of control within the weapons. There isn't that much control when it comes to signature moves and control characters straight up. This is a tank, so it will be very, very hard to take down, who also has pretty good control. You could take this in, those stages where you're coming up against full alert defense teams with your full strong attack team. You know how Challenge Run likes to do that to you. You can, for instance, taunt a Laurie or taunt a Carol who would do their first turn signature moves against you for 3 turns, and that's going to be very, very good. And then he's obviously going to get better AP every time he gets attacked by a taunted character. He gets more AP. He's going to get that rush off faster. It's going to be nice. Now, Romanov, of course, has some mythic abilities. These are his passive skills. We'll look at them. He has strength because he is a tank. The 40% critical hit resistance is going to be great if he's on a defense team, especially with that taunt. He's going to be taunting people into his attacks, and he's got a chance to resist any crit hits there, which is great. His second passive is called War Hardened. When being attacked by a character with the damage roll, reduce that damage by 40%. Kind of obvious, but the majority of heavy damage dealers are damage roll characters. There is the odd one they still might have issues against. For instance, Carol is a support character and she can do heavy damage on turn 1 with her signature move. So you still have to have some sort of defense versus alert and get some nice defensive stats in there. But that is going to be nice to just flat reduce incoming damage from damage dealers. Really great. Next up is Glory of Combat. When being attacked by a character with the damage roll, heal all adjacent teammates by 20% of their max HP. He's kind of got now a little bit of control, a little bit of medic, heavy tank, very nice all-round character so far. His last passive ability is Battlefield Chaos. At the start of each turn, 40% chance to remove focus from up to 2 enemies with the damage roll. This is obviously nice just because within Pamela teams you don't have too much focus removal. In the future you might be able to get someone in that team like Morgan, who has a guaranteed focus remove on his signature move. But both of those together, it means Romanov could remove 2 and Morgan could remove 3, and that way there'll be no focus potential in the entire fight. Now, this will happen every single turn, so in the future, if characters do come out that have the chance to just proc focus on their signature moves or on attacks or in their passives, Romanov has the chance to just straight up remove that if that actually occurs for any character. Okay, so now we're going to just show you how some of his passives work. I'm going to weaken one of the characters a little bit, and this is just to show you how the heal works for adjacent characters. It does not heal Romanov himself, but it will heal any adjacent teammates. Now, I would not say you would want to use him as a leader who is someone who is not a leader, but it does mean that he'd be able to heal the leader and whoever was next to him, you know, if he had a character next to him that was alive. So I'm going to attack with Ivanova. He had a chance to resist that crit, but he didn't. But I did a bit more damage to the adjacent characters. But because Ivanova is a damage dealer, it will reduce the incoming damage. You see the red text going above Valkyrie's head now. When I do it, you can see that he resisted the crit. He reduced the incoming damage. He also fully healed Eugene here. And Eva down the bottom is getting a bit more HP. And then we'll just do another basic attack. And you can see now the adjacent characters are full HP. And this is just how it's going to work. He's going to continuously heal. Now, because he's got a taunt, this is guaranteed to happen. It isn't like you can avoid it. And that is obviously really good. And obviously with that heal, if he's got the right specialist sitting next to him, you could get some really nasty stuff happening. Let's say you had a Barker defense team, Romanov, and next to Romanov was Davey. Every time Romanov is attacked, he is going to heal Davey, guaranteed, because of the overheal 2. Davey will then bonus HP the entire team. The combo there could be really, really powerful. And because of that taunt off turn 1, like I said, the heals are guaranteed. So, yeah, a lot of potential there. We'll look at the upgrades. War Hardened at grade 1. He gets the first half of War Hardened. 20% reduction on damage dealer damage. He gets Strength, which is the critical hit resistance at grade 2. At grade 3, he gets War Hardened 2. So very early on, he'll get the full damage roll reduction, which is obviously very powerful. At grade 4, he gets Glory of Combat. When being attacked by a character with the damage roll, heal all adjacent teammates by 20% of their max HP. And that is the best it can be right now. So at grade 4, again, you're going to get one of the more powerful ones. At grade 5, he gets the first half of Battlefield Chaos. At the start of each turn, 20% chance to remove focus from up to 2 enemies at the damage roll. At grade 5, Limit Break 1, you can see he also gets the second half of Strength. And at grade 5, Limit Break 2, he gets the second half of Battlefield Chaos. Another 20% chance to remove focus. And that obviously stacks up to 40% total. So far, so good with Romanov. Quite a nice all-round character. Very tanky. Bit of heals. Bit of control. But he's also got a little bit of, you know, keep his teammates alive and a bit of control in his specialist skill. This is where the crit does come into usage. It's kind of obvious. You guys worked it out. Guardian 2, when this character performs a critical attack on an enemy, they will apply a damage negating shield on 2 allies with the lowest HP. The shield will remain active until it negates 1 incoming source of damage from another combatant. Maximum 2 specialists applied shields per turn. So that does obviously mean that 1 Guardian shield, if it procs, you can't proc with another Guardian shield. But if you have signature moves, rushes, weapons, passives that can proc Guardian shields, then it can proc as well as this specialist skill here. Obviously, my opinion, this is one of the stronger specialist skills. It doesn't have any direct counters in the game, except you having to actually like destroy it. You can do his splash, but it just obviously reduces your outgoing damage. So it is very, very powerful. He has a guaranteed crit off of turn 1, and you're almost always going to want that to happen because it does the taunt for 3 turns. So whether you're on attack or defense, it's obviously a great one to do. Really nice, honestly. The crit bonus on that rush does seem to make more sense. You do not really want to build crit into his kit because you want to make him as tanky as possible. So getting a bit of bonus crit on that rush is not a terrible thing in my opinion. So pretty straightforward. We'll do the guaranteed crit off of his signature move just to show you it. And you see the 2 lowest HP characters. These are the same characters that got the Guardian Shields last time. We'll get it on an attack team. You'll know who they are every single time. On a defense team, you will roughly know who it is, but it can be dictated by the attack team's first, turn of attacks, because someone could be lowered really low on HP, but then you throw a Guardian Shield on them with Romanov, and it would give them a bit more protection and, survivability. So obviously, all round, a really nice specialist skill, and works into Romanov's kit pretty good. Now next up is Romanov's attached weapon, and it is Romanov's Vigorous Viking Axe. It is a 4-star weapon, so you can obviously upgrade this 3 times, make it 5-star, and then upgrade that 3 times. It has got 25% HP, 25% defense, and bonus healing when healed, regain 80% more HP. This isn't a terrible weapon in the 3rd slot. You can potentially build him to actually, for that to work, but he doesn't have any self-sustain, so we'll rely on other people to heal him to take advantage of this. Strong weapons aren't the best when it comes to using them on defense, but a lot of people are going for ones that do like revive or have reduced incoming crit damage. Like the Connor weapon is being used on a lot of characters, and because Romanov does have some takedown potential, I could potentially see people using a revive weapon on him too. The only issue is he would be a window in that case, unless there was an adjacent target next to him which you would not want getting that HP. Then he would obviously not be a window at all. So it's up to you how you want to build him, but if you had David next to him, you're not going to have too many people attacking him. So a revive weapon could be extremely viable in that situation. So that is Gold Mythic Romanov, and I think he is actually pretty good. He's a pretty nice defense team character, well-rounded. He's got a lot going on, honestly. He's doing a little bit of control, a little bit of healing, very tanky. And I like the fact that he's a specialist skill Guardian 2. I don't think we've had a strong Guardian 2 so far, except Michonne 2000, but she's not really the same sort of viability as Romanov on a defense team for sure. But in long-term challenge run, she's going to maybe run into some issues just because she is just nowhere near the sort of HP that Romanov's going to have. You're going to see Romanovs with so much HP, it's going to be crazy. I'm going to see like 60, 70,000, and with Pamela leads, maybe even more. Do give me your thoughts on Romanov. Which visuals do you like the best? Do you like the Standard Edition or the War Veteran Edition? Does it make you want to go for Warrior Champions qualification even more so than you did want to before? Let me know in the comments down below. That is the end of my video. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.